Hey, it's me, Stuart Wellington, one of the hosts of the Flophouse Podcast, and you are listening to the Flophouse Podcast. And this is not a main episode, this is a Flophouse Podcast mini episode. That's right, on the off weeks, instead of watching a bad movie and talking about it, we kind of do whatever we want. And today, I'm in the driver's seat. That means the lore master has returned. I shall be sharing one of my passions with my co-hosts. Introduce themselves now.
Dan McCoy.
Elliot Kalin, very nervous.
I am introducing one of my passions to my co-hosts, and that passion is Warhammer 40,000, or as we fans of Warhammer call it, Whammer. So, guys, we're going to be talking about Whammer 40K.
I don't know enough to know if that's
time.
I don't know enough to know if that's a joke or if that's actually what Warhammer fans call it.
So you're gonna have to trust me, I think. So in order to, I've explained a little bit about Whammer 40K to them in the past, but what we're gonna do today is I had them watch a episode of a television program on the Amazon Prime network. It's a program called Secret Level. This is an anthology animated show where each episode is about a different video game or gamers or things like that. And each one has a different theme. And there is the 5th episode in the series is themed around Warhammer. It is titled Warhammer 40,000. Yep. Well, the title is Warhammer 40,000, and they shall know no fear. Since this was a relatively short thing, I feel like this would be an interesting way to introduce my two buddies to a thing that I love, and we're going to see how it goes. So before we get into this, guys, did you have any background with, other than me briefly explaining it on a, hour and a half long podcast? Do you have any understanding of Warhammer 40,000?
And at least one live show presentation
yes,
Stuart, I can say that even after you explained it on a previous thing and a presentation, I have no understanding of what Warhammer is, other than a thing that is played with little figurines and sort of a strategy game thing. I mean, like it kind of exists in the nether realms between, tabletop game and like a role playing thing. Kind of.
That's pretty close. Yeah. And as you can see, and also because this is this show, Secret Levels, all about video games, there's also been a number of video game adaptations of Warhammer. So, Elliot, you answer the question. What's your familiarity level?
I've never played it. I know it partly because you talk about it. I know a little bit, a tiny amount of the basic concept and premise and lore. And it's the kind of thing that I feel like I have enjoyed more as a thing that I only know little bits about, rather than a thing I really immerse myself in. Because I know there's a certain aspect of it that is, as they say in Warhammer itself, in this show, and I know is the most important aspect of Warhammer, that it's in the grim, dark world of the future. And it gets a little, I think in general, the deeper I try to delve into it, the grimmer it gets in a way that I find not fun.
Well, let's also say, I mean, since you said specifically about like video games, this show, Secret Levels, is about various video games. Secret Level, sorry. I had not watched it. We discovered that an old acquaintance of Elliot and mine, J.T. Petty, a nice guy.
Is a producer of it. He directed our friend and former guest on the podcast, Eric Marzak, in the movie Sandman, which is a real creepy, fake documentary horror movie.
Yeah, glad to see him getting work, but I had not watched any of this show because also in video games, like I kind of tapped out around the Super Nintendo. I do have a Switch, but mostly just to like continue playing Mario games, whatever new Mario game comes out, and that's basically it. So,
Elliot, you have two young boys. Are they super hardcore gamers yet? Are they big video gamers?
They certainly want to be. We've held the line on not having a video game system in the house, but we recently they've been really getting into Minecraft, which kids love. And
because they saw the movie and were inspired.
Yes.
So I got to know what this chicken jockey is.
They were so excited. I mean, they knew a little bit before they saw the movie, but the movie only fed that appetite more and made them hungry for more. But yeah, we don't have a lot of video games in our house. I was a big video game player when I was a kid. I was a big Nintendo guy, but I just don't have the time in my life these days, which is sad, really. I hear friends of mine and they're like, oh yeah, I just played through this game and now I'm playing through it again to all the extra stuff. And I'm like, I wish I had time for It's hobbies. Like I wish I had time for this is I dug my own grave when it comes to my schedule, so I'm not complaining about that. But so I'm outside the video game mainstream, and my kids are not yet in it, but they really want to be in it. They want to be in that.
Someday they'll do what Nintendo. Wait, no, that's Genesis. Genesis does what Nintendo don't. I was a Genesis guy growing up.
I just remember Genesis. It was what it's the next level, right, or whatever it was. Was it Genesis or which one said "You are not ready"? And that was their slogan.
I don't remember. Dan, do you remember?
I know that now you're playing with power when you have the power glove, which is a lie because it barely works.
It's actually not a very great accessory. Yeah.
But it could have been. It could have been something special.
Yeah.
That and the gyrobot. Okay, so and before we get into the plot, what there is in this episode, this is a tie-in to the Space Marine and Space Marine 2 video games.
Okay.
Space Marine 2 just kind of recently came out, which feature the main the protagonist of those games is Lieutenant Titus, who is featured in this little
the character
story.
of Titus from the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yeah.
I thought it was the character Titus, not the actor.
Not the actor.
Or Christopher Titus, the comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as we said, in this Warhammer 40,000 takes place in the grim darkness of the far future, 40,000 years in the future. Okay, and we follow to give a quick summary, we follow a squad of Adeptus Astartes Ultramarine Blade Guard veterans.
Oh, they're blue.
As they go, yep, you're
Double
right.
D, double die.
As they are sent down on a mission to a planet that is held by the forces of chaos, and they have to identify and destroy a relic before, in turn, they themselves are going to most likely die. They believe going on this mission is a suicide mission.
It says at the beginning, mortality 100%.
So the actual episode begins. We get a voiceover narrative from the leader of this Blade Guard regiment, or this Blade Guard unit, Sergeant Metoris, who is explaining a little bit about how a human child, the psychological and physical training and changes that go into making them into a Space Marine soldier, a member of the Adeptus Astartes. Were you super excited about this idea, guys? What do you think of the art?
There's explaining. Like, I don't remember any plot to this thing. I have to.
At the beginning, he talks about how, like, you make them obedient, you break them, but what if you took a child who never knew fear?
That's the thing.
What could they be capable of if they were made into one of these giant monster Marines wearing armor that is unstoppable and they can kill anything?
I will have to say that having no particular context for Warhammer 4K,
40K,
40K,
Warhammer 4K is 36,000 years earlier.
I took a bunch of Ks off. I'm like, this seems like 4K to me.
Too many Ks.
I just without the.
Here's my first note. Do you need all the Ks?
Yeah, it's a lot of Ks. I mean, all the budget's going to go to that. Without any context, I'm sure that fans love that there's no hand holding. Me, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Especially because you call this grim dark. It might have been grim. I can't tell because it was so goddamn dark. I could not see any fucking thing that was going on in this goddamn.
Were you watching it on your laptop on the beach, Dan?
I will say I did not watch it on our nice TV. I was watching it on a computer monitor that does not get as bright. But I would argue that maybe test it out on various screens, and if it's impossible to see on anything but the highest quality screen, send it back to the drawing board.
Were you watching this on your laptop while doing dishes?
No, I was watching it on an iPad while eating lunch, so I was paying full attention to it. It was dark, but I knew that I was not giving it the best opportunity to shine. But I found differently. It wasn't until the credits that I realized that these characters had names and were like characters. I thought they were just kind of generic who's-its. It was very unclear to me. And by the end of it, it was like, okay, this is about the relationship between this guy and his protege. Like the kid he trained who is now a Space Marine and is reaching the next level of strength and confidence and power. But I didn't get that relationship until the very end of the thing. Like it was. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I guess I was supposed to be tracking the relationship between these characters because so much of it is just guys in armor killing the shit out of randos and then blowing things up.
Yeah, I'm only getting it now that you are explaining it back to me.
So we after this brief introduction, we are then on a Space Marine battle barge where the Sergeant Matoris is getting the mission information that's come through this like kind of one of the themes of the human empire in Warhammer is that everything is like both a mix of high fantasy, like fantastical, and also like old timey and kind of like junky. Like they have latched onto technology and they're just trying to keep the same technology, even if it's like breaking and looks kind of a little bit crappy and a little bit like and very religious. Like they Space Marines treat the act of war and preparing for war very religiously. So there's these like little guys hanging around that are like, wearing like monk's robes and they're like putting the armor on the sergeant. And then he and the rest of his squad, after all being geared up, they climb aboard a drop pod, which is like a giant bullet, which is then fired at the planet and it lands and then they come stomping out. That was pretty cool, right? They're in like a giant flying bullet, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are all, hearing you describe it, and when you've described the concepts in the past, Stuart, each time you've described it, I've been like, this sounds pretty cool. These sound really fun and like neat, and the amount of work that's gone into figuring out every detail of it. They don't just take a drop ship down. They're shot down because all this world knows is war. All this universe knows is war. So everything has a war aspect to it. Even their vehicle is a bullet. There's something kind of like cool and coherent about that. But seeing it, I'm like, oh, kind of unrelenting. Kind of unrelenting in one note.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of joy unless you're talking about battle joy. So they arrive on
But even then, they do not have when I think battle joy, I think of like a Viking berserker, where there's a certain amount of like, ha, we shall swim in blood today and we may die, but we may die gloriously. Whereas these characters are so kind of emotionless, so joyless, even in the fight, that I was like, ugh, so nobody's liking this. Like, no, even the characters are not liking what they're doing,
Yeah, I feel like there were like maybe 30 words spoken in this episode. Like, I appreciate trying to tell a story visually, but if you're going to do that, maybe turn some goddamn lights on.
Lights on, yeah.
Yeah, this old man Dan, he has trouble with his eyes. His eyes can't see him so well. And this is something that I think we'll talk about as we go further into the story, but I have to mention it now so I don't forget. If you see like these invincible bruiser guys in armor who are totally joyless, and they are just slicing their way through unarmored humans, to me those are the villains. Like, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm not picking up on the kind of like British kind of like dark humor of this kind of this Judge Dredd type stuff that I've seen in British comics. But here it just felt like I obviously cannot sympathize with these guys because they are never in danger until the very end, I guess. And it's just evil guys mowing their way through people in masks and in Jeeps and Humvees.
Yes.
Yeah,
that I think you touch on a thing that the Warhammer intellectual property has kind of struggled with translating outside of the game, is that initially, it was very 2000 AD, like tongue-in-cheek dark humor. Like there's a dark humor to the grimness of this future for humanity and these effectively like emotionless warrior monk superhuman soldiers whose act of worship is battle.
Yeah.
Like there was something very tongue-in-cheek initially, but as time has gone on,
I feel like in British fantasy science fiction stuff, there's a lot of over the topness where you're supposed to get this is so over the top that there's an element of irony to it. Yeah.
Yes. But as time has gone on, that line has blurred. Also, I think translating it to American audiences, which is the largest consumer of Warhammer stuff at this point, and Europe.
Yeah. Until recently, the best country in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So as time has gone on, and they have like the elements of humor have kind of been shaved off a little bit, and it's been flattened out. So it isn't intended to be quite as silly as it actually it is when you step back and look at it as an adult.
Yeah, I think it reminds me of a couple different. I mean, one is the way that Judge Dredd has been handled. Where like when you read those British comics, it's clear like this Judge Dredd is not a good thing. Like if any society that has Judge Dredd in it is a failed society, and you're supposed to take that for granted. But if you make a movie of it, it's like, well, of course he's a hero, and he's just the toughest cop in the world, and that's why he's so cool. He's the only one who can bring law to the super blocks.
Okay, so these Space Marine veterans arrive. There's 4 of them. They're fully equipped in armor. They're carrying massive shields as well as high-powered ranged weaponry. And Lieutenant Titus is dragging along, has a chain, and he is dragging a large sarcophagus along with him.
That was the one element that was kind of funny to me that I liked, was the idea that they've got to keep dragging this thing no matter what they're doing. And every now and then, just a reminder of like, and they're got to pull this thing behind them.
Yeah, it's a sign of like there's a regular element of Space Marine stuff where it's like there's like an element of duty, like it's a duty and worship. And they attract the attention of a bunch of humanoid worshippers of the ruinous powers, the gods of chaos, who are, I would argue, the primary antagonist in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Now, I have told you guys multiple times, so this will really upset me if you don't remember. Can you tell me the names of the 4 gods of chaos?
Of course, sure. There's Glimpus, the god of, where'd my keys go? There's Porpoise, the god of the waters. There's
he squeaks a lot.
Yeah. There's Shelphus, the god of the chaos of poorly organized stores. Can't find what you're looking for. And there's also Krampus, which is like Krampus, but his hair is crimped.
Yep. And Dan, can you name the greater demons of each of those 4 chaos gods?
Well, was Chaos in Get Smart? Was that the organization?
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a...
So, of course, it's Don Adams.
and powerful greater demon.
Yeah, Barbara Feldon, yeah.
Thank you for reminding me who Agent 99 was. I couldn't remember. And, of course, Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks.
Yeah. You nailed it.
Don't believe Carl Reiner was involved in the show, but
really?
Mel Brooks was. I don't think you. And Buck Henry. Buck Henry was the...
Maybe I was mixing them up.
That was the one where Buck Henry was always like, I created that show, not Mel Brooks.
So these...
Did we get it right, Stu?
You nailed it. No question.
So,
no notes.
This is confusion. At a certain point, I'm like, okay, they're on this planet. These guys who keep just showing up and to get killed must be their opponents. But the idea that they were worshipers of a chaos god or something, that did not that didn't come through to me.
Humanoid cultists of the forces of chaos. So they arrive and they're very Mad Maxy, right?
Yes.
They're
Mad Maxi Pad, yeah.
And they
that was a short-lived tie-in to the original movies.
Yeah, didn't sell super well. So they attack these 4 Space Marines. These 4 Space Marines are horribly outnumbered. Seems like they're in trouble.
No,
but what happens, Elliot?
They just kill all of them. They just mow their way through these guys. They're chopping them in half. They're blowing them up. They're shooting them with big guns and stuff.
Like motorcycles are ramming into these armored giants only to explode or go flying off.
I wish I had seen this. This sounds really cool.
Yeah. Their shields are strong enough that like a tank type or some kind of mounted artillery gun is fired at them, and it just bounces off their shield. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tank with a heavy Gatling weapon, and the shells are bouncing off their shields.
There's a lot of chopping people in half, or like stabbing a sword straight through somebody's body, impaling them on it. Doesn't someone's head get like just exploded with a headbutt or something like that? I can't remember.
Exploded with a headbutt. One guy's head gets crushed under a Space Marine's armored gauntlet.
Yes,
and they are both
very bloody.
Despite their size, they are very fast and they're very efficient. Not a lot of additional movement.
Yes, they're just despite the fact that they're wearing this enormous bulky armor, they move like John Wick. It's just no wasted movement.
And
they're always knowing where they need to be. Yeah,
I will say that this is fairly accurate to the background and lore. These Space Marines are faster than you would expect, both because of their training, as well as the like accentuators and servos in their ceramite powered armor. Yep.
But this is one of those where like the violence is very gruesome and over the top, but not so far that it becomes ludicrous. Instead, it always looked to me like it was supposed to be cool. And I kind of wish if it was they're like mashing people up in their hands by the dozens, or they're like you run your sword through 4 guys at the same time, like that's the kind of stuff where it might have, for me at least, might have started getting to that level of like, oh, okay, this is tongue in cheek, or like I'm not supposed to take this straight. Yeah.
And then of course, after killing all these guys, the sergeant hands Titus the chain to the sarcophagus, so he has to keep dragging it. Duty is not over. Only, as they say in Warhammer, only in death does duty end. Duty, D-U-T-Y, not D-O-O-D-Y.
I mean, in death, duty also ends.
Okay.
I mean, like there's one big one
There's
at the end.
There's the one big one in death. Actually, in death, then you get their biggest one yet. Yeah.
But then at the end.
Is it known as being the biggest one?
I assume it's the biggest one. You're voiding everything at that point.
Everything.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, because that's the uneaten food in your body trying to get out so it can find a new host. So
I'm-
all of it's coming right out, yeah.
I've only cleaned up one death turd in my life, and
Okay.
it was not necessarily the largest, but oh boy, howdy, it did not smell good.
I'm sure it
let me
smelled
tell you.
bad. So, Stuart, you know what the name of your band is going to be? Death Turd.
Yeah, and it's like a dance pop type situation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're trying to do what for America what K-pop has been doing for the rest of the world, which
I
is
think
just
it'll
bring
work.
fun and
I
kind
think,
of big
yeah.
emotions. Yeah.
Mhm,
Dance
yeah.
routines. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of like hand hearts.
Yes. But you do hand turds. Like what you
Hand
do, like a kind of a
turds.
more of a poop shape with your
An
hands.
show me-
ovular, a
show
long
me-
oval.
Show me with your hands what your turds look like, Elliot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Immaculately formed. Just what you want them to be.
Almost
You're a
no
lucky
odor.
middle-aged man.
What?
I said you're a lucky middle-aged man then.
Yeah. No, it's one of the things I excel at. Yeah.
Elliot, high fiber Kalen. So
Yeah. In the
they,
grim poop world of the future, only the elites have the best turds. Yeah.
that's a different chaos god there.
Yeah.
So
War Pooper 4000.
the
40,000.
Space Marines then slide
Wait,
down
War
a
Pooper
massive
40-year-old thousand. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
The Space Marines then have to slide down what seems to be like a massive chasm.
Massive Chasm is another great name for a band.
It's great, right?
Yeah.
The Chasm is a great death metal band.
And for a butt.
Yeah, for a
Also a
butt.
great name for a butt. Sure.
Massive Chasm magazine.
Yeah. Massive chasms with massive gasms.
Guys, why are we in this business? and not
Yeah.
doing
No,
that?
No, we should be in the proctology porn-based
Oh,
magazine
man.
industry,
Okay.
which is doing so well right now, Dan.
It's crushing.
Print is just, killing
Oh
it.
man. Oh wow.
Do you want to travel this summer but don't have the time?
Want to learn all about state mottos and history without summer school?
Or maybe you just love urban legends and Latin?
Well, my friends, there's one podcast that ties it all together and celebrates the American states many call home, E Pluribus Motto.
Every episode, we showcase a different state or commonwealth or district or territory and celebrate its official motto and the absurdity of all its local life.
We'll go across the country with stops at Oregon, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and so many more. Join us, won't you, to take in the sights and sounds.
New episodes of E Pluribus Motto every other week on Maximum Fun.
What's more action-packed than prestige television?
With more continuity than comic books?
And more reality than reality television?
It's professional wrestling! And to better understand wrestling is the ultimate form of entertainment. You need the Tights and Fights podcast.
This is the perfect wrestling show with a lot of love, a lack of toxic masculinity.
And just the right amount of butts, cats, and spandex.
Listen to Tights and Fights every Saturday on Maximum Fun.
Let's get back to Warhammer, guys.
Oh,
Sure, you
Warhammer,
guys
as I
have
call
to?
it.
Okay.
So they, the Space Marines find themselves in a lightless cavern that has
And we should
tiled,
mention,
like
there's-
stone-tiled floors.
There's no dialogue through all of this. It's entirely visual fighting stuff. There's no talking. Yeah.
Yeah, no communication. The only communication is through, I guess, body movement.
Yeah.
And the Space Marines are ambushed by a squad of mutant creatures. Can you describe these creatures? I'm not going to ask Dan because he couldn't see it.
Wait, is
Elliot,
this
can you
Yeah, it was
describe
funny to
them?
me when you said lightless chasm. I'm like, oh, that was different from
Were there more
before?
than one of these? I thought there was just the one.
This was so they got ambushed by a group of like bird-like mutants, known in lore as Zangor. as they are worshippers of the chaos god Tzeentch, the trickster, lord of deceit. And that's where the Space Marines slaughter them, and their blood or ichor splatters everywhere in like a neon blue, right?
Oh, that's right. Because you know what? I totally forgot this part. So when I thought about afterwards when the Space Marines seemed to have met their match. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I don't even remember these characters at all. I apologize.
So that's fine. So they the Space Marines dispatch these foes again pretty handily, and they make it to this large, almost cathedral-like structure, deep underground. It seems they go into the
statue inside of it.
There's a huge statue. This is clearly their target. Upon arrival, before they try to destroy the statue, they finally open up this sarcophagus. Can you describe what's inside, Elliot?
Inside, there's just a dude. There's a monk dude, and he's gonna murmur some prayers in order to create like a shield for them, a kind of force field barrier for them to protect them against the unholy power of this chaos statue.
Is this a non-moving shield? Is it like why does that? Yeah, because I'm like, why does it have to wait until this point?
They
pull them out of the.
This is why this is when they're. I assume at their. It's a spiritual shield. This is for a. This is to protect them from the occult powers rather than from.
I see.
The guys on trucks with guns, which they are totally good at.
I'm wondering why he has to be dragged in a sarcophagus. I mean, obviously
because it's cool, Dan, and to protect him, but also to protect him.
Well, obviously to protect him, but if he had shield powers, I'm saying like couldn't he have just?
But again, his shield power is only for the mystical properties, which is how he gets killed so totally easily.
Now I just
this is a sanctioned psyker in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. There are humans and other races that are blessed by being touched by the warp, so they have access to psychic abilities.
And does he are his eyes covered? Right.
Yes, he
reminds me a lot
has
of
a steel covering over his eyes.
Because he reminds me a lot of the character. I think his name is Eggplant Man from Akira from the comic books, who has his eyes are covered and he has an eye drawn on his forehead, and he's the guy who's always like, "I can see over there. They're over there," and he's just a real jerk.
Yeah. Similarly, has psychic powers.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's this element of like techno arcane type machinery, and as he is chanting an imperial prayer. It creates a shield around them, and the Space Marines begin attacking this massive statue. The statue has a defense mechanism. It releases a mutated chaos demon sorcerer character that flits about on these bone wings, and it uses its powers to conjure up this like spear of dark energy that it rams through the psyker. And then gives and that moment that shield is gone, and it then is able to use its massive power to stop time and attack the Space Marines one by one.
And it does it because its face kind of unfolds, to open it to reveal this eye, and then it's getting getting into their minds, right, and kind of destroying them from psychically.
It opens up, its face unfolds to this singular massive eye with a pupil split down the center. And then that opens again to form like a weird mouth.
Yeah.
What do you think of the design of that?
I mean, that's undeniably cool. This whole character, super cool. I don't love the bone wings too much, and the way he kind of like struts over to do it. I feel like this is one of those worlds where every character is always strutting like I'm super tough, and I get my fill of that. But
that is Warhammer.
But this is a great monster design. I love any monster that has no eyes, but then its face opens up and there's an eye, and then the eye opens up for a mouth with teeth in it.
Extra eyes,
love
extra
that
mouths.
Stuff. Dan, you love this stuff. You were all over.
You could
right?
do a montage of the dubious and confused looks that I am. Like I gotta rewatch this thing, I guess, on like the TV this time because I thought it was absolutely madness how little I could see.
It is the madness of the far future when there's only war. Yeah, but I felt this. I mean, one thing. So a reason that I wish I could get onto the Warhammer wavelength a little more is I do like a lot of their monster designs. Like they have great monster and creature designs, and this one looks really cool. And it's cool that finally the Ultramarines or whatever they're called.
They are Ultramarines, Sons of Ultramar.
Have met
Scions.
Have seemingly met their match.
Of Rabute Gulaman, their Primarch.
Okay, that was you could just be making it up. It's possible. But finally something can hurt them because it's not trying to hurt them physically, but psychically. psionic.
Yeah, so their strength of arms is of no use as this sorcerer is able to get into their minds, and one by one it is picking them out and taking them into this like mental vortex where they are forced to face their darkest fears or shortcomings, and one by one they are collapsing until it finally. It takes out the sergeant. The sergeant's fear in this case is that he has not trained somewhere in the process his protege Titus will be turned to chaos, and in that vision, that's what defeats him. So the sergeant collapses.
I have to admit, I did not understand any of that when I was watching it. I didn't quite follow what was going on in it, but I knew it was something bad.
The sorcerer then attempts the same maneuver on Titus, but we realize Titus was the youth in the beginning who has never known fear, and so this sorcerer's psychic attack is worthless, and the illusion he has created is shattered as Titus destroys his staff and then cuts him right down the middle, splitting him in half.
The kind of thing that you wonder why none of the Marines did. I guess time was stopped. That's why, because you wonder what. That's why, because I was like, why didn't Titus do this like when he was attacking all the others? Like he could have just walked up to him and like killed him. But I guess time was stopped, is what you're saying. I don't think I fully understood that. Yeah.
So the mission has been completed. They knew that it was going to be a suicide mission. Their efforts has drawn the attention of what appears to be a massive army of chaos cultists. Titus drags his sergeant out of the temple, and the sergeant's like, "Our job's done here." And Titus is like, "No," and he runs off to fight this massive army of chaos cultists, seemingly by himself. And knowing that he is in the video game, he's gonna survive, guys.
Unless this takes place after the video game.
Unless this takes place after, this is, unless there's going to be a third Space Marine game where you play Titus, in which case it would have to take place after that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, guys, that was our trip through Warhammer 40,000. Do you feel like you know more about Warhammer now than you did before?
I feel like every time you say anything new about Warhammer, like I understand less. Like a piece of my brain falls out of my ear every time this happens. It's just certain things in this world were not meant for me to the degree that like my body rejects them.
Elliot?
I don't know if I necessarily understand more about Warhammer. I guess now I know there's like characters. Like there's like named characters. That it's not just like Grimmelmob, the Grimmelmob, the defenestrator and stuff like that, you know? Or
I feel like it would be good for the USA Network because characters are welcome in Warhammer.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been trying to make a Warhammer show for a long time. Right?
They made a deal with Amazon, So you know that there's a little bit background in characters. Now, having seen this episode, how inclined are you to look up more Warhammer content?
I mean, I guess I'm inclined to, again, go back and try and watch this again to see if, like, it was, see how different it looks.
I feel like, Dan, you need to go back and watch it again, and then if it still looks the same, I think you need to see your optometrist.
Probably.
That's true, yeah.
I am not particularly inclined. Again, I found the as much as I like the idea of the grimdark world of the future, actually spending time in that world, I find a little, not for me, a little unpleasant. Especially if I lived in a real world that felt less grim, I would be able to take more joy in being in a over the top, depressing kind of like dark world of war.
Who at the beginning of this said that I have a Switch mostly to keep up with the further adventures of Mario. I like Happy Light. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these things are fair.
I think it hurts. And this shouldn't hurt my enjoyment of it, but it does hurt my enjoyment of it, knowing that there are fans out there who are not engaging with it on an ironic level, but think that when they're watching this show, they're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah! Look at them, just slice their way through those guys. Shit! Oh, they're so tough, man. Oh, they don't know. He doesn't know fear. Oh God, yeah, that's awesome. Like that's." It hurts me to know that there are people watching it who are just like, yeah.
Yeah, but does that affect your opinion of, other things that are just taken on the most surface of values, like the legions of people who watch Fight Club and they're like, yeah, I should start a fucking Fight Club?
I mean, it does, honestly. I think the difference is there's like, I do have that Fight Club in particular. I have that issue with, but I think there are certain things that I got into at a young enough age or early enough that I was able, like Star Wars, for instance. Like, I don't love a lot of Star Wars fans, but I got into it on my own terms. And I feel like now it's Warhammer. I know too much about some of the fan base to get into it just on my own terms and not think about that. But that's on me. That's on me. That's not on the work itself.
Okay, and then before we wrap up, I had a question from listeners. Yeah. This is often asked, but I think it's very fitting with the upcoming release of the new edition of the Horus Heresy Warhammer 30K game, where you get to play out 30K, 10,000 years before the events of Warhammer 40,000.
So this is all the Warhammer characters when they were babies.
This is the age, in a way, this is the age of darkness, where the Space Marine legions engaged in a massive civil war that nearly tore the universe apart.
Wow.
The question that they want to know is, guys, which of the 20 Space Marine legions are you going to pick up and play for Warhammer 30,000, and why?
Probably the Baseball Furies.
Baseball Furies. That's actually a pretty good one. I was going to think that was your choice. Is it because you like their Primarch the most? What was the name of the Primarch again of the Baseball Furies?
That has like the T-shirts in it. Yeah.
Huh?
Love it.
Why Baseball Furies, Dan?
They just got some elan, some style. Some
that's
verve.
Okay, yeah, cool. They like baseball.
Okay, and that's the Baseball Furies are firmly on the side of chaos under War Master Horus, fighting against the God Emperor of Mankind. Elliot, which Space Marine Legion are you going to pick?
I guess I'm going to have to go with the Kushkins. They're Kush balls with faces and hands, and there's just the one that's the two eyes
clearly
on stalks.
Super soldiers,
yeah, exactly. They're I guess genetically manipulated humans or humanoids that have become kind of like fuzzy ball shapes, and I think they bounce around, and I think that'll be a fun power to play with.
Oh, they're kind of like the Mad Balls.
Yes, they're very like Mad Balls. Yeah.
Unfortunately, their mutation singled them out as being tainted by the warp, and it was horrible what happened to their home planet at the hands of. It seems like the Imperial Fists wiped out their home planet. That's terrible.
They destroyed Kush World.
The sons of Rogel Dorn, always hardline imperialists. Well, that's good to know. I think that's. I hope that answers our listeners' questions. Of course, I am the most duplicitous and dubious of the flopsters. So that would mean I'm playing Alpha Legion, baby, Alfarius and Omegon, twin Primarchs. That's why I'm doing it, because I like two Primarchs for the price of one.
What is the difference between two Primarchs or one Primarch? Just more of them?
Basically,
double
they're
Primarchs.
also smaller.
Okay.
See, the Alpha Legion Primarchs are smaller, so they can kind of blend in with the rest of their Legion. Because the Alpha Legion, they're being tricksters. The true identity of who their Primarch is, Alfarius, is shrouded in mystery. I like a mystery. But that's for the next time when I do an entire mini where I explain the Alpha Legion to my two friends.
Wow.
Okay, so this was Stuart Explained. Stuart, as his role of the lore master, tries to share one of his many passions with Dan and Elliot to, let's say, mixed results.
But I enjoy your enthusiasm.
Thank you. That's what's important, is encourage people's enthusiasm as long as nobody's getting hurt.
Yeah.
This is a mini episode of the Flophouse podcast. Full episodes are every other week where we watch a bad movie and talk about it. This episode is produced by Alexander Smith, who goes by Howl Doughty on the internet. You should check him out. He does all kinds of great things on Twitch, Bandcamp, etc. For the Flophouse, I've been Stuart Wellington.
I've been Dan McCoy.
I'm Alpha Primarch Torius Elliot Kalin. Did I use it right?
Oh, full title. I love it. Okay. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.